believe that fake news planted by Russian hackers blew up into a crisis among U.S. allies in the Middle East. That's a lot. Here to discuss all of it, Bob Cusack is the editor-in-chief of The Hill, CNN political analyst April Ryan, the author of At Mama's Knee, Daniel Drezner, a Washington Post contributor, and CNN national security analyst Juliette Kayyem. Good evening to all of you. We have so much to cover tonight. April, I'm going to start with you about this Attorney General Jeff Sessions story. We're learning that he offered to resign amid growing tensions with President Trump. And this comes as we're still waiting on clarification on whether the president has confidence in his own Attorney General. You're at the White House. What's going on?
Well, it's what Sean did not say today in that press briefing. He would not say that the president had confidence in the Attorney General Jeff Sessions. He basically said he'd have to go back and look. He didn't want to give any more than what he didn't know or what he had. So bottom line, and this is what I'm getting from my sources, that this president is not happy with Jeff Sessions, but he at this point is going to humiliate him. They have a bad problem right now. They have bad blood. It stems from Russia. They're just not getting along at all. And Sean did not give the words of confidence.
Just sort of stringing him along by saying, making him wonder whether he's
that. And did you see the tweets? Did you see the tweets this week about what was it? Going back to the travel ban in all caps. So that travel ban issue and talking about how the Justice Department should have used the original language when dealing with this. That was humiliating for the Justice Department.
You think that's directed directly at Attorney General Jeff Sessions?
Yes,
that's for
most
his
definitely.
Benefit, or
most
not his
definitely.
benefit?
He is the leader of that department, yes.
What do you think of that, Bob Cusack?
Well, I think this is really troubling for the Trump administration. I mean, Jeff Sessions is loyal to Trump. Jeff Sessions was the first senator to endorse Trump, but they have had difficulties. And who is going to replace Sessions should he step down? Remember, and I know this was mentioned earlier on this show, but like when Kellyanne Conway was asked about confidence in Flynn, she said yes, the president has full confidence. Spicer would not go that far, and then Flynn, just hours later, basically was pushed out. So this is a real problem. This is a historic week in the Trump presidency, especially with the Comey testimony coming up and Dan Coates' testimony tomorrow. And you have to think that politically it would be better for Trump to keep Sessions.
Is Spicer just maybe out of the loop now, or do you think that was done on purpose? He's just being too cute by half. He knows the answer, but doesn't want to say.
I think that there are some things that press secretaries always don't want to know, so that they're not lying. I don't think that Spicer is talking to Trump on a regular basis.
Okay. Juliette, New York Times reporting that Comey told Attorney General Jeff Sessions that he didn't want to be left alone with the president. What do you make of that?
I understand it. If every time that he is alone or that Trump requires him to be alone, the two of them together, something odd happens. And there's a request for Comey to either say that Trump is not under investigation, or there is a request to end the investigation. We will find out more of the details of their interactions when they're one-on-one. But just taking a step back here, Trump should never put any of these people in the position that they are in. He knows better. And he's essentially forum shopping. I just made a list quickly. If you look at Comey, Nunes, Burr, Sessions, Rogers, the head of ODNI, Rob Rosenstein, all of them. He's forum shopping to someone to help him to get out of a problem, which is there's an investigation about Russia's ties to the campaign and whether there's evidence of collusion. And as far as we can tell, no one is actually biting.
Dan, I want to get to some of your reporting now. Your paper is reporting that President Trump, back in March, asked the Director of National Intelligence, Dan Coates, if he could get the FBI to back off of the Flynn probe. This is going to come up tomorrow when Coates and other top intel officials testify before Congress. What do you think?
I think that Donald Trump should not be left alone with any other individual not with the last name of Trump, because clearly he winds up saying or doing something that disturbs them. I think the most interesting thing about the Coates story is the degree to which Trump clearly does not understand that the ODNI can't tell the FBI director to back off, and that there's a different relationship between the strict intelligence agencies like the ODNI, the Director of National Intelligence, and the CIA, as opposed to the FBI, which certainly has an intelligence component but also has an investigative component. And the fact that to Trump all of these are part of the same thing, it's what Juliet said. He clearly is engaging in forum shopping, believing that all he has to do is to talk to someone else as a way to get Comey to stop doing what he's doing, which simply makes the obvious obstruction of justice charge stick even more.
Do you think, and just to go back, I want to go quickly, April, back to Jeff Sessions just for a moment, because what Ana Navarro said earlier in the last hour was that she believes that this was a distraction. Maybe he's trying to create some chaos or a news story to get people to stop focusing on Russia, and he may be doing that with this. I'm not sure I have confidence in Jeff Sessions or Sean Spicer not being able to answer that question.
You know, Anna could be very well on the mark with that, but at the same time, there is a tension, there is a problem between this president and his attorney general. So the distraction element, that is real. We know that happens, but this president has a problem with people who he feels are not loyal to them, or who are in the midst of controversy, and he does not want that right now as he is in the midst of one of the worst 130 how many ever days there has been for U.S. president.
When you're there, do you feel a difference? Do you sense a difference over the last couple of days, especially with this Russia investigation? And do you?
Yes.
Is Sean, you do.
Yes.
And is Sean Spicer different and the communications department different?
Yeah, last week, Sean, he was a different person. The beginning of the week, he seemed like he was almost scared. He ran out of the room a couple of times. At the end of the week, he seemed, some people were saying the word depressed. Yesterday, he was not there. It was Sarah Huckabee. And I asked, you know, where was he? And today he came out. Sean was very strong today. I have to give him that. And he was also very careful in his words. Sean is embattled himself, and he's trying to be very strategic in how he offers phrases and words to the press. He even contradicted what was said yesterday by Sarah Huckabee when it comes to the issue of tweets, the president's tweets. The White House, to include Kellyanne Conway and Sarah Huckabee yesterday from that podium, said that, you know, it's just tweets. It shouldn't be really a big deal. It should be dismissed.
He said it's official.
But today, Sean Spicer said it's official.
Yeah, and when it comes directly from the president. Bob, sources are also telling CNN
Yes.
that Comey is expected to say President Trump misinterpreted his conversations with him. This may contradict what the president has said publicly. How do you see the president responding to that?
Well, it remains to be seen if Trump is going to live tweet the Comey testimony. He has an event 11:30 on Thursday. The Comey testimony starts at 10. I mean, this is a potential earthquake here, but it could be he said, he said. I do think that one of the big questions is to be directed at Comey is, well, did you tell the president that he's not a target or a subject of this investigation on Russia, which Trump said in that letter, getting rid of Comey, that it was 3 times that he was told that. So I think there's so many questions for Comey, and the question is, who is the public going to trust?
Yeah.
Comey or Trump?
Yeah, and what's interesting, Dan, I see you shaking your head there. I think most people, except for the people who are representing the president and who are in his inner circle, I think everyone else would say, you know, I would love to see some live tweeting, but it would. I don't know if that would be a smart thing because it offers in the moment for the president to be contradicted and fact-checked. Correct?
Correct. I mean, we could be in a situation where tomorrow Comey is testifying, Trump live tweets in response. I'm assuming the staffers sitting behind the Senate Intelligence Committee will be looking and monitoring his Twitter feed, and then posting letting the senators know those tweets, and then being able to ask Comey whether or not what Trump is tweeting is accurate. So I think in the end, it will be a self-defeating strategy if Trump does it. But how many times have we said that it's a self-defeating strategy for Trump to tweet something and then he goes on to tweet it?
Yeah. Juliet, how is the world responding to President Trump's leadership amid all this chaos?
Oh, it's horrible. I mean, there's really no other way to say it. You know, we have this idea that we're relevant because we're the United States. No, we're only relevant because we have been a supporter of institutions. We have meant something to the rest of the world. We have abided by laws and agreements, and we're not fickle, and we don't throw, mayors of London under the bus after a tragedy, and we don't make snide remarks about a country that where we have a major military base where, let's remind everyone, all anti-ISIS operations flow from. It's a recklessness that I don't think we have quite captured yet, that we can quite understand just how dangerous this is, and this is to everyone. And we have this feeling, as I was saying, that the world is paying attention to us. I actually think the world is done. They're done. They are moving on, and so you're going to see the rise of China. You're going to see the Europeans sort of align with themselves and with other nations, and we'll make ourselves irrelevant. That's so bad, not just for us, but I think we used to mean something to the world, and that was a good thing. I mean, we used to represent order and law and the hope. We didn't always follow it, but the hope of peace and democracy. And now, they're going to look to China and other nations for that kind of stability and trade and economy. So the tweets may be funny, but they're so dangerous and damaging for the rest of us. I mean, in other words, we're the United States. Trump isn't.
Yeah. Thank you for the discussion and insight. I appreciate it, as always. When we come back, the Justice Department says Jeff Sessions is not stepping down, but things are not looking good for the Attorney General. I'll ask John Dean what he thinks is next.